Thank you so much for being present in this class, and I'm really looking forward to this class. Okay, letting the last ones in. Okay, I'm gonna start right away with something that I really wanna introduce to you. Today it is the Acropolis free gift number 4, and that is from the book Leaving Your Nets, and it's called Inner Vision, chapter 13, Inner Vision. And Inner Vision starts off with this idea that I'm going to read to you because it will set this class. It is the most important part of this class. Okay, here we go. You have come to that point in your consciousness where you are seeking for what the world calls the intangible. When you came to a spiritual teaching, you knew in advance, or soon learned, that you were going to obtain nothing in the external realm. What you were seeking was the invisible, that which cannot be seen, heard, or known. And yet you were seeking to be able to see, hear, and know just that. Through that seeking, you are coming to know that which is unknowable, to see that which is invisible, and to hear that which is inaudible. On this nothing, you now live. So I love the way Joel says this, and it is like that is the main thing of this class, because it has everything to do with the unknown, with the unseen. You're going to put your trust in something that you weren't raised by, so to speak, and yet it is here for you. And so welcome to this class. Welcome to Relax Deep, to go within and to make a connection with that which is not visible, what is not audible, that what is not known. But at the same time, you have an opportunity to hear this in a whole different way, and to see this in a whole different way, and to know this in a whole different way, in a way of revelation, in a way of direct communicating, in a whole different way than the world teaches. So here we are coming together in this stillness, in this, say, a realm of quiet and peace. So that's where we want to go to in this class. Like, we want to take time to sink deeper in our consciousness and leave the superficial behind, like the little distractions, the concerns, the whatever comes up for you as being a distraction. So here we go. We're going to let go of that. We can directly practice this with us. It's like, yeah, don't forget to breathe. Leave this behind. Put your backpack with ideas, put it down. You don't need to take it with you. So there's an opportunity for you here in the next 45 minutes or so to make a connection with what you already knew that you would connect with when you started your spiritual path. You knew that like the results, or the yeah, how you say this, it's like the treasures are not outside of yourself, are not to be found in this world. So now we have to look at where are they going to be found. So in this 45 minutes, like I said, we're going to find, like, literally listen to the answers that are given to us to the following questions. Why pursue something that is not in the external? Why would you do that? Where is your security? And what is your security? And what does it mean to leave your nets? When are you going to leave your nets? So these questions will definitely be answered in the form, like in the way that you can hear them. So I want to make it very practical with you. And I realize that this Leaving Your Nets, that's the book, Inner Vision, that's quite something. That's already Christ mind, Christ vision, that you're going to apply. And Leaving Your Nets sounds like an assignment, like, okay, there's something needs to be changed apparently in my life in order to obtain inner vision. So these things we're going to take a look at. And so I don't know where you find yourself in your spiritual life, but for me it is like, yeah, you can't ignore what has been in the back of your mind, or maybe in the front of your face for a long time, that you think like, well, maybe this is what that means, like leaving my nets, it might be this. And see, leaving your nets is not like a conscious, yeah, it is a conscious decision, but at the same time, it's like, no, you're going to let go of what seems to be very important to you now. You're going to let go of that to the, yeah, up to the point where you actually don't have a choice anymore. So here we start. We're going to let Joel speak a little bit in the text that has been given as a free gift from Acropolis. And I love to use this chapter because it is like, now there's such a different angle, so to speak. Last week we were talking about meditation and your inner ministry, which is also totally related, but again, different. And now we're talking about vision, inner vision. So that's not so concrete as an act of like meditation. Meditation is something still you can do, but inner vision is something you have to obtain by basically giving up your ideas. Otherwise, you will not see anything different. So we have to come to the bottom of what actually is perception. What is it that I'm looking at? How do I use my senses? Like, in order for me to let go of that, I need to be aware of what it is. Otherwise, I can't let go of it. So am I completely conscious of what actually is using my senses? Like, how much is that related to the external? How much is that related to my identification? So these things are very important to look at. And so Joe helps us in this, and we'll read some of that. Just to get a sense of this inner vision. Joe uses this moment in Jesus' life. When the Master, Jesus, walked the earth after the crucifixion, it is said that only a few more than 500 people out of all the thousands who walked those roads saw him. Think of that. Only 500 people out of all the thousands of people who walked the roads there saw him. Only 500 saw him. Those 500 saw that the invisible and intangible that is intangible to human sense. They saw what never can be seen by humans. So that's just to get a sense. And I like this idea. Because it is like, apparently there is something that you can perceive without using your eyes, and you know this, like you're no longer a beginner. You know the radiation of a master, or you can recognize the light in someone. You learned to look differently to your brother and see, or maybe waited to see what is really visible, like, oh my God, look at that, what a lovely smile. But it is more than a lovely smile. There's something there, like there's really something to discover. And maybe you recognize it in yourself too. Or people tell you like, oh my God, you got such a beautiful radiance, or such loving this and that. So these things are visible, but actually not with the actually not with the eyes. So like I said, we have to look at what is perception then. What is it that makes you see these things that you believe in? So here's the connection too. It's like believing these ideas about visibility or trusting your senses as you were used to as a human being is something that basically shows you that everything is separate. Like, okay, here's my phone, and this thing is separate from me. I can put it down, and it is not connected to me anymore physically. So here you have it. It's like all of this is so connected to your body and to you as this human being in the world having a certain location. But what is real about that? You learn to believe it, and you were told that you are crazy if you don't believe it. But now here you go. You go inside. You go within, and you connect with what is real. You start to communicate, and that feels much more safe and secure than anything in this world. Especially in the moments where you really were frustrated with the world, when you had your big thing going on in this world that showed you like, oh, this is not love. This has nothing to do with love. Where can I look for it? And then when you finally got to the point that you went on your knees, suddenly you feel some kind of relief, some kind of peace in your mind. And that became very valuable to you. So in other moments when you started to practice, you got in touch with that too. Are you recognizing that? You get in touch with something that feels so secure, that is always there and is always of the same quality. And in your daily life, you can really look for that, for moments that you can experience that again. But here, with using your practice to get in touch with that, that will be totally helpful for you to recognize that your inner vision, like your inner communication, has nothing to do with the outside. Yeah. So we can relax deeper into that. So maybe you want to close your eyes, because like the world you see holds nothing that you want. It is not what you're looking for. You've seen it. You've seen it for what it is. So you might as well close your eyes for a moment and calm down and go within and breathe through your nose and relax even more and feel that there is something inside that is so gentle and so still that you actually would love to stay there for one or another, like instead of going out again into this world. So now, one of the questions that I put down is this: why pursue something not in the external? It's like, why would you want to look for something that is not external, while you were raised with the idea that everything is happening there? You have a place in that world. You have something to do. You want to make a difference. You want to really, really make a difference. Like, why would you want to pursue something that's within? So you don't do that automatically as a human being. It is not natural to do that. It appears that way. So that is so interesting. In we meeting here in this place together with the whole idea of, no, we are not looking for it in the outer world. We're not looking for it there, even though we still find ourselves on a moment by moment basis in what you call your daily life. But the connection within us is always with you. And that's amazing. So something has happened where there was a turnaround, where you no longer could fool yourself. So basically it is admitting that this world is a lie. It is not what it appears to be. It is literally an illusion. It is made up by your ideas, by what you were looking for, what you thought you could find there. But you were always looking in the wrong place. And when this big turnaround happened to you, or when you decided to go on this path, suddenly you say like, yes, this makes so much more sense. It is in me. It is happening in me. See, and now I'm breathing, I'm releasing something. Like, oh, okay, yeah, immediately all the tension can go, all the things can go, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I'd love to release it. Like, I don't need that any longer. No, my mind is in a state of letting go, of continuously letting go, not holding on to anything. So let's get back to the questions that are in front of my face so that I won't forget it. Yeah. So let's read some more, because Joel put in a lot of beautiful, like this. Joel gave us a lot of beautiful things to read. So here's one about your security. So where's your security is the question behind all of this. We today, who have touched even the hem of the master's robe, require nothing that the world can see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. In a world threatened with atomic bombs, with viruses, and you name it, I'm just putting this in, those of us who have tasted one drop of spiritual life, of love and truth, are not looking for bomb shelters or for cabins in some remote place. And why? Because we feel an invisible security, an invisible safety, which is that impregnable safety and security that can be found only in God. Wow. So it's always good to put a question mark behind it. It's like, okay, is that your experience? Just be honest with yourself. Like, is this your experience? Like Joel says it here very practically. We require nothing that the world can see, hear, touch, smell, or taste. Like, okay, is that really true for you? You know, is that what you discover for as a reality for you, that you don't need that anymore? Like, there can still be a temptation to choose these things, but here in this chapter and in this place, in this class, we're actually looking at the idea, okay, what does it mean to leave your nets? What does it mean to literally decide, okay, yes, here I am. Whatever I have to do, I will do that. Show it to me that what needs to be done, I will do it. Just because I find myself in a place in this on the spiritual path where I want to follow, say, my inner calling instead of my outer temptation. So I love it what Joel says here. It's really great. It is great because he makes it so practical. Like, in a threatened world with all its threats, like atomic bombs or whatever it is, who have tasted one drop of spiritual life, love, and truth. So did you taste a drop of spiritual life, of love, and of truth? Did you taste that drop? Like, sometimes I say this to people, it's like, okay, this is the judgment of God about you. Like, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. So did you get a drop of that well pleasedness that God has for you? That is what this has to do with, you know, because that will do more than 30 books, or that does more than 1,000 words or whatever. It's not even comparable to that. So if you have one drop of that spiritual life, love, and truth in you, like suddenly it is there, it's being revealed to you, then you will never have a doubt anymore that that is your security. And you can still have your distractions, but it doesn't mean that that your real focus for truth and say the real security that you recognized has been gone. No, not at all. So that is so great about this, to stand still here with us today in this moment, to take a really good look at where's my security, where is it to be found. And then it's always so, yes, of course this is that, it is not a miracle in that sense. No, my security is found within me, and it is right here with me. It can never be taken from me. So that's wonderful. I love it. What is your security? So what is your security? Is your direct communication with God. It is what is happening in this moment. When two or more are gathered in my name, Jesus says, it's like, I am here. In seeing with your Christ vision, there's communication, and there's direct communication with everything that is. It has nothing to do with this world anymore. And yet you find yourself here, but that is not a disturbance anymore. Like more and more situations, persons, events are going to be included into this. And yeah, that is what you do in your spiritual path. So you're going to be taken to all the places where you think you can be separate from God, just for the inclusion of all of it, just for you to see, no, there's no exception to the love of God. It's like, wow, you never know. When you step back, that's where your safety is. When you are completely vulnerable, that is where your safety is. When you don't defend yourself, when you don't attack, when you don't defend, when you just be still, it's like, okay, here's your servant. Like, I'm listening, I'm stepping back, I'm listening. So it's always a humility connected to it. It is never stepping forward. It's like, okay, let me do this. I know how to do this. No, it's always stepping back, stepping back, stepping back. No, it's not what I thought it was. No, it has nothing to do with this world. Not in this situation either. No, here it is. Yes, here it is. It is going to be given to me. I don't have to force it in any way. I will not be able to force it because I will just not see it. So to really see with an inner vision, to see with eyes wide open, so to speak, is to also keep your mind wide open. So not having any ideas about what you think is going on or how that will look will help you immensely. So not to make any assumptions is also very helpful. So, and that is, see, that these are all very practical things that can help us to develop inner vision. So if I already have an outcome of how something would look, it is always like a limitation, because that is the only thing that my mind can come up with. But when I let go of my ideas, suddenly there's a whole mind literally showing to me what I couldn't see otherwise. I don't know how it looks, the love of God. I don't know what it means to have a drop of spiritual life in me. But it happened, and it was revealed to me. See, but it's always like it is revealed to you, so you receive that in that sense. It is not made by you. No, you're part of creation, but it is not made by you. You feel the stirring of God's love in you, but you're not doing that. So, yeah, I love it. I just love it. Thank you so much for putting up with me and listening to this. I love to share this because it's so essential. And it's quite a tough chapter, it's getting really serious now. Like, after this is the fourth class, and this is like the toughest class. It is really tough. So you got to be ready for it in order for it to come to you. Okay, Joel says here, any spiritual teaching is a revelation that a state of spiritual awareness, God consciousness, is greater protection than a bomb shelter. An awareness of God's presence is a greater remedial agency than medicine or manipulation or surgery. It is strange, but it is true. See how deep Joel goes into this? That's pretty amazing. Any spiritual teaching is a revelation that a state of spiritual awareness, God consciousness, is a greater protection than a bomb shelter. Absolutely. So, and that is the same with the healing power is not limited by any material, like whether there's 5 meters of concrete around you or not, the healing power will still be the same. Like it is not disturbed by, it doesn't acknowledge material sense. So that's why it is safe. But see, here's again, to really hear this, what it says, it is good to realize that this needs to be revealed to you. Like you cannot just say knit the concept on one another so that you have your whole story complete. No, this is a step by step learning to trust that that is really true and letting yourself be convinced by what your experience is. So that's good to realize that. So it doesn't make any sense to stop your medication just because you just read this. No, it has to do with step by step learning to trust and also asking for experiences for it to be revealed to you. And yeah, that's how that goes. So somebody is chatting at this point, and if that's important. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So that was just a little message for all of us. Thank you so much for being present. Thank you so much. So what does it mean to leave your nets? Okay, so Katie says, well, I'm in a double disaster zone right now. Fire and smoke surrounding me. Okay, so take care. So this is a very accurate class, isn't it? So now what you're going to do. So this is a very practical moment in the class. Like, okay, here it is. Your house is surrounded by fire. Now what are you going to do? You know? So what is going to be revealed to you? What do you feel that you have to do? And you go within saying, okay, God, show me what is the action that I have to take. Show me what to do. Show me where to go. Show me where my safety is. So we're all with you in this moment. We are all with you in this moment. See, it is amazing during these sessions or during these classes. I had many times that there were incredible thunderstorms or stuff like that, and then the day after, people writing me an email is like, "Oh my God, I wasn't out of my house during the storm, but when I looked outside, it was a big mess. Only my house in the garden was saved. Like it was really amazing." Like, yeah, that is what happens. And that is, if you trust your safety, if you go there, what can happen to you? Like in a grand scheme of things, in that sense, what can be a threat to you? Like there's absolutely no coincidence in that sense. There's no coincidence about what is happening. Like everything is appearing behind this appearance is a great plan, and it's happening right now. No matter where you find yourself, no matter what appears to be the emergency. So I was talking about what does it mean to leave your nets? When are you going to do that? Let's see what Joel says about that. At this period of our experience, and that means this experience and this period, like right now, we are being told to leave our nets. Think of it. Think of it. We are told to leave our material means of making a living and follow what? Follow me. In other words, we must let I be our food, I be our protection, and I our healing agency. At this period of our experience, we are being told to leave our nets. We are told to leave our material means of making a living and follow what? Follow me. In other words, we must let I be our food, our protection, our healing agency. See, and then it is good to realize, like, okay, all these things, like, okay, so I have to quit my job. I was like, no, that's not really what's being asked. Do I have to say, give away all my money? No, that's not necessary either. Do I have to do this or that? Like, no, now you just have to wait a moment. It's like, okay, I'm willing to give this all away. I'm willing, I'm here to follow. And what does that mean? I'm going to ask for what that means for me. What does it mean to follow you? Show that to me, because that's what I want to know. Reveal it to me. I want to have that be revealed to me. See, and that is something that you will do. But when are you going to do that? Like, well, if you have an option, if you think you still have a better option, you're probably going to take that. Like, this is always with your inner life. As long as you treasure something else, you will keep that, because it is something that you know. Even though it's not completely pleasurable, you will still be holding on to it or identify with it, up to the point that you actually experience that you don't have a choice. Then it becomes like an automatic thing for you. Then you will step right into it. And that's the same with leaving your nets. It's like, yeah, you will know when you give this up or that up. That will be so obvious. Like, you literally have no alternative anymore. There's an urgency, like a great urgency. And you don't need to choose anymore. The rest is falling apart, is falling away. See, then it becomes really easy. But then if I look back at the moments that I had to do this, so to speak, it was obvious what to do. And it wasn't any effort also. It brought me in a situation that was completely new, but it didn't ask any effort of me. So I only had to say certain words, and suddenly something falls away. Or I had to do nothing to see, like, oh no, this is a point of a new start. Yes, I'm going deeper, so to speak, deeper into my commitment to this. It influences my life even more, or completely. See, and then everything becomes different, and you will discover that when you do it. It's like everything becomes much simpler. Like now I'm just doing this. There's nothing else that I need to do. There's nothing else I want to do. So, that makes it really simple. I have no conflict about what is happening. I have no conflict about what I'm supposed to choose or not. Like, that is all going to be revealed on a moment by moment basis. So it doesn't need to be conflictual. But the first time that you really got confronted with this and find yourself in a situation where you really feel that you have to go somewhere, like there's a fork in the road and you need to go somewhere, whether you live your lie longer, that's basically the choice. You live your lie another period of time, or you decide to be completely honest. And that's a whole different story. So this is what's leaving your nets. It's like, yeah, indeed, being completely honest about where you find yourself and what for you is natural on this way to do now, like what feels completely natural for you to do. Yes, you know already what that means. You know already what that is. And yes, indeed, why would you live one day longer a lie that is not true in the first place? Why would you want to do that? You know it's going to hurt and it's hurting already. Otherwise, you wouldn't be thinking it. So now imagine that you have an opportunity to live a life that is completely conflict free and which is so simple that basically you're always on time. You don't need to hide anything. You can be completely honest because you literally have nothing to lose. That makes things very efficient, so to speak, and also very effective and very quiet and very peaceful. Basically, it's the only way to have peace of mind. But see, if you haven't received a drop of peace of mind, you don't even know what that means or how great that is. So maybe you want to ask for that first. Okay, so continuing with all the good stuff in the chapter. Okay, here it is. Yeah, I cannot skip this either. This is great too. So the paragraph that I'm going to read is this. How does anyone know these things exist? How can anyone have confidence in such intangibles? Ah, here comes the secret. There comes the division. If you cannot feel an inner rightness about this message, if you cannot feel an inner confidence in a medicine that you will never see, hear, taste, smell, or touch, if you cannot have a complete faith and confidence in me with a capital M, in the I within your being, if you cannot rely on I, if you cannot come to a place where you believe that I am come, that you might be fulfilled physically, mentally, morally, and financially, then the thing to do is to leave this work for a session. Go back to the world of material sense until a greater degree of awareness comes. Because if you see or saw between the two, you will only tear yourself into pieces. Leave your nets. Stop fishing for material fish and material remedies and material ways of earning a livelihood and follow me. In the Master's teaching, one statement stands out above all others. If you wish, you can leave the others alone, but remember this. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Trust that I, at the center of your being, cling to that one thing or the equivalent of it, and that is God's grace. The grace of God is in you, is sufficient for you. Cling steadfastly and wholeheartedly to the truth that this grace is sufficient for you. His grace. Nothing out here, just His grace. It will come. It cannot fail. It will come and it will be in time. Leave your nets. So Joel is expressing this as a blessing to us right now. You know, it's like, okay, here it is. Just remember this, like, just remember this. Just go back to this I. Go back to this I within you. It is not to be found outside. Let the grace overwhelm you. Open yourself up to the grace that's been given in this moment. So that is so lovely. So we are blessed having this message, having the opportunity to receive this message and let yourself be completely affected by it, and let your whole life be completely affected by it. So this is always the invitation. It is always the remembrance we're looking for, and then what we extend to one another. So I thank you so much for being present with me in this class, on this path, in this specific point in time where you can firm up your commitment again. I was like, yes, I follow. Here I am. I listen. I'm available. Show me what it means to leave my nets behind in this moment in time. So thank you so much to walk with me on this beach where we leave our nets behind. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.